I'm Mike Moroski, and I'm the president and co-founder of Choices Cafe, located in the historic over-the-Rhine neighborhood of downtown Cincinnati, the largest intact historic neighborhood in the entire United States of America. I'm also the assistant principal and dean of student life at Purcell Marian High School and a board trustee at the Drop-In Center. When I was real young, the American dream to me meant make a lot of money. Pretty much were signs of the times I picked up on. Particularly in the 90s, there was a lot of money growing, well, 80s and the 90s. So in the 80s, I had a lot of rhetoric, trickle down, and money coming from the top down is going to help people grow. And only if big time companies and CEOs get paid lots of money, can poor people have a chance. So that was the first rhetoric. And then the 90s rhetoric was give people jobs, but with the end result, of course, I'm making money. And so it was always kind of like, well, I guess that's what you're supposed to do. But it really wasn't from my parents. You know, ironically, and then in the early 90s, I was heavily influenced, and still am, by this group of people from Seattle, like Eddie Vedder and Kurt Cobain and Lane Staley, and all these different bands that gave me this whole new perspective, especially Eddie Vedder. I remember asking my parents when 10 came out, the day 10 came out, and going and asking them about the song Why Go and Rearview Mirror, like, why are these songs talking about women being beaten? I don't understand this. Or even Flo, what does this line mean about, you know, these people don't have money, why is this person sleeping on the street? I think there was a time where it was possible, it really was, particularly after World War II. But it was, even then, it was possible for a certain type of person, because right after that massive economic explosion is also when the modern day poverty began for the folks that are right out here. At Moeller, yes. Down here, no. And at Purcell Marian, no. Not at all. I remember talking to a kindergartner and asking him, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you know, no matter what you're going to teach, a doctor, fireman, or whatever. And the kid said, what do you mean? And that really hit me. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, well, when you grow up, what do you want to do? He's like, I don't know. What do you mean? The biggest fundamental difference is luck, where you were born. And that's what's so crazy, is that the one thing you have absolutely no control over. It really does. It doesn't dictate your entire life, of course. I mean, because again, I do believe in hope quite a bit. But I've seen, I've seen too much to be ignorant to the fact that it does. I mean, that plays a huge part. It really does. I had a girl in my office all day today. Is 16 years old, doesn't do drugs, nothing, and her father and her uncle were in prison for killing someone. Her father actually killed another student's uncle at the school. She watched her buddy blow his head off last year. She had an abortion when she was 14. It's just like this crazy. Her buddy was shot over the weekend. Her other buddy was shot 2 weeks ago. She lives on Stanton and Walnut Hills, which is not a good area. But she doesn't do drugs, and she doesn't drink. She doesn't do anything. I don't know how. I mean, the most reductive word in the world, the most bullshit word in the world I could use for her is inspiring. I just think that's so wildly reductive and stupid, but I don't have another word for it. So that's what I guess I got to use. But when y'all pulled up and I was on the phone, and I was talking to Mike Rogers, you know, everything I can do, at the end of the day, even with all of her strength, the fact of the matter is she doesn't have the same opportunities. She just doesn't. Folks that have been given a lot of opportunities, I really do think they need to realize that without them, without y'all and me and people, and that's not to, but without that assistance, it's not possible. You know, you always talk about the bootstrap thing, and I believe in that. I'm big time on players that wear bootstraps. But I always like to add to it, of course, that if someone doesn't have any boots, that's not possible. So you got to give them boots. Someone's got to give them boots at some point. And then more likely than not, these ex-felon buddies of mine, we got 320 guys in our program now. I got 50 of them jobs just, what was it, last month. These guys work so hard. Anyone say they're lazy out there 24 hours a day watching your back, selling drugs. By the time these kids are 20, they're exhausted. And they will work hard. And when you show them that somebody there is going to advocate for them, they come in here exhausted. 20 years old, they come in here weathered saying, God, can I get a part of your help? I can't do this anymore. So I grew up with way more opportunities than Mike Rogers. And I did not do anything different than Mike Rogers did in high school. In fact, I was arrested by the federal police and went to federal court with the U.S. District Attorney when I was 17 years old. And I went to college. And I had a 1.0 GPA when I applied to Xavier. And I know why I got into Xavier. And I don't have any real illusion about that. So while I was at Xavier, I got Dean's List all 4 quarters. And I destroyed Xavier. This has been a pretty crazy year because things were real dark for choices. In fact, we had closed, and nobody knew that. And right after we did, there was all of this attention given to choices in a very quick successionary amount of time. Xavier had honored me with the Magus Award. There was this 40 under 40 thing. But the most significant in regard to this question was I got the Jefferson Award for Public Service. And which was pretty humbling for me because I was up against 4 people that are 4 of my heroes. The youngest of which next to me was twice my age. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm in this group. So we had closed choices, we didn't have any money. Mike Rogers was homeless, which nobody knew except me. And I was kind of helping him move around place to place. I'm at this fancy ass thing at the Hilton. And they announced my name. I was like, really? And so I got to go to D.C. and hang out with like Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Kathleen Kennedy and all these people. But what my idea of the American Dream now literally was probably formed in those couple days in D.C. It was an evening where they got up and they had 2 minutes to just sort of say what you did. And when I came back, my girlfriend asked me, she said, so what was your favorite part of the trip? And immediately, without even thinking, and this is kind of, I think, what the American Dream is, I said the neatest part of the trip was how inspiring it was to hear these 89 other people that, in my opinion, had all done wildly more impressive things than I have. I just, by mistake, ended up here. This was never anything I wanted to do or even planned to do. And sometimes, I'll be quite frank, and I think a lot of people would be, if they work real hard in the area of justice, they sometimes wish that they didn't care as much as they do because it's fucking exhausting. But what I told Katie, I said what was so great about it was hearing these people that had an idea or a vision or a dream or something and they just did it. And not with business degrees. I mean, again, I have an English degree and I got a homeless buddy and we opened a business. And in no other country on the planet can you do that. Define as clearly as humanly possible what your dream is, or else you're going to go nuts or burn out. Personal experience. So define what your dream is, realize you're only one person, make a lot of friends, and be real driven, don't quit.